Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that we get out of linear time, right? We know what our calendar looks like, right? We know that the holidays change yearly. You know, till this day I still have to ask, well, when is Thanksgiving, right? When is this? When is that? And I have to ask that because it changes, right? It changes. It always changes because the days change every year in the Gregorian calendar, right? Now, when the calendar came about, okay, when the calendar came about, okay, it says, but it's scary that scientists say our planet is slowly dying since the Earth rotates fast. Okay, now when it comes to science, right, and what the scientists are saying, I want to make sure I go over a lot of things and correct a lot of things. One thing I want to make sure is that we understand is that, again, we as human beings or pieces of the whole, we are limited in our perception and therefore limited in our understanding. So all the things that we have learned throughout our childhood about the solar system, about Earth, about everything, about our existence is technically inaccurate. Okay? What we're doing is we have been made to adhere to a particular ideology. One person's ideology has been preceded over everyone as correct, and everyone else is just heretical. And whenever that happens, we would have to know that it's flawed, right? So what I like to do is, when it comes to the metaphysical reality of our existence, I like to go back further than our modern scientists. I'm sorry, that's what I like to do. There's more accuracy in people who gain their wisdom and knowledge through meditation, rather than someone who's trying to put a particular picture together and let you know what life is because they just want to know. Okay? So again, what they're telling you, a lot of the fear tactics, don't take it to heart, okay? Don't take it to heart. Now, I'm going to go into the Earth. I'm going to go, in a future video, I'm going to go into the Earth. I'm going to go into the planets. I'm going to go into time, whether Earth is dying or not, all of that. I'll discuss that in a future video. Thanks for that question or that statement. And I'm going to go into that in a future video, okay? Just to make sure that you understand what is and what isn't, okay? So one thing you remember is that time is constant. Time is constant. We move through time, but time isn't technically moving, right? Time isn't technically moving, but we are moving. So now that we are observing the separation of our existence, the way in which we do that is with a calendar, right? The way in which we observe the separateness of our existence is through a calendar. And a calendar is truly supposed to be a structural system in which we observe time, right? It's supposed to be a structure in which we log our days, months, and weeks and kind of understand what we're doing, right? But the reality of it is, if you remember or have seen my previous post that I made this week to introduce us to this class, you understand that if we look at the word calendar, right? word kalen, okay? The root word in Latin of calend is, this derived from calendarium, which means account book, okay? And the Old English and calends in Old English, it means the first day of the month in the ancient Roman calendar. Okay, so the first day of the month in the ancient Roman calendar, that's already telling you when this began. Okay, so this began in the 1500s. Before that, the way in which indigenous or any particular person, the way in which we were able to tell time was by the celestial bodies. Okay, the first day of the month in the Roman calendar was when accounts were due. So this particular structure, a calendar in a linear fashion in which we see today, the origins of it has to do with the Roman Empire and how they wanted to ensure everyone knew when it was time to pay taxes. Okay, so before then, when it comes to a lot of indigenous civilizations and societies, capitalism wasn't even a thing. Okay, capitalism wasn't a thing yet. Okay, so the paying of taxes is a Greco-Roman ideology. So that means once the commencement of paying taxes came in from tyrant dictators, that's when the calendar was made, because now it's an account book, right? And we keep that account book today. And when do we pay our mortgage and our rent? Everything is due on the 1st. So it still reigns today, you know what I'm saying, what this was for. And that's why in these particular months, we have their names. July for Julius Caesar. August for Augustus, whatever his name is. Okay? So then they change things around and add more days so that it could be a 31 day and it could be in the most important month. You know what I'm saying? So they make these particular decisions based off of their ego. This is not done, you know, these, the Julian calendar and the Gregorian calendar are both inaccurate. They're both inaccurate, okay? So it says, in fact, this calendar was imposed upon the dispossessed indigenous people of the New World under the doctrine of discovery of 1582. Transition from a solar calendar to a lunar calendar is indicative of one's transition from a life of force to a life of flow, from out of alignment to universal alignment, from linear thinking to radial thinking, from the third dimensional materialism to fourth dimensional mentalism, spiritualism, okay? From individualism to oneness, okay? So this is the reason why when it comes to observing any particular separational construct, we would do it utilizing the celestial bodies, the lunar calendar, the phases of the moon. Why? Because it has a consistent cycle of 28 days, okay? We utilize the proper time frame. Now what we're doing is we're placing our mind in the proper thinking capacity. If you really think about it, how did our indigenous ancestors tell time? Okay, so the days was told by the sun. That's how you knew it was one particular day. Okay, so they would have structures in the ground that actually a pole. A pole would be here, right? And it would be in a particular structure that they would have, right? And when the sun would hit the pole, it would cast a shadow. And then that's how they would know what time it was. We use nature to tell what time. This is how they told the day. Okay? And how they told the month was by the moon. Okay? And the woman's menstrual cycle. So whenever a woman bled every 28 days, that would consist of 1 month or 1 moon. They didn't say month, they said moon. So what happens is, when it comes down to depicting years, what would they use for years, right? They used seasons. They would say 3 summers ago or 4 winters ago. And that's how they would be able to determine a year, from how many times the season passed. That's how they would know. The reason why they told time this way is because they were thinking in a cyclical fashion, knowing that it was going to come again. Not like this, but like this. Okay? So it would be proper. That's why if you look at any indigenous understanding, you see this as their sign. So this would be the 4 seasons. Okay? Spring, fall, summer, winter. Okay? So that's how they told the year. The sun was told the day, the moon told the month, and the seasons told the year. Now the Mayans, they actually had a 3 calendar system in which they utilized each particular calendar for a particular purpose, okay? So they had 3 calendars, okay? They had the Zolkin, which is the calendar that's made from the moon. They had the Hab, which is their civil calendar, which would be what they used for, politics and things like that. So that was 365 days. The Zolkin was 260 days. And the reason for that is because they utilized a 2 particular week system. So they would have 13 days by 13 moons by 28 days. Okay? 13 by 28, 260. So there'll be 260 days at the end of that. And that actually is equivalent to a 9-month gestation. So when they wanted to focus on the energy of human existence, they focused more so on the 9-month gestation period. So what we are utilizing here is this particular portion, which focuses more so on the cycles, not linear time, okay? And again, when we are focusing on our lunar calendar, we are doing so to basically get our minds out of the way in which we think, which is based on materialism, economy, individualism, with our main focus being on monetary gain and success in this particular paradigm that we're in. So we're changing the paradigm, and we're trying to adhere to a more indigenous, more harmonic type of timeline where family is important, where community is important, where we're not thinking about ourselves above everything else. We're thinking about the collective above ourselves. Okay, so that's pretty much what we're focusing on today. And this particular calendar, right? This particular calendar is a little bit of an adaptation. So it's actually started off as it was introduced in 1991 in the form of a game called Dream Spell. Okay, these codes provide a new computer language with an underlying mathematical system for organizing information. Okay, so instead of linear binary system, which requires feedback loops leading to greater entropy, the synchronic codes are a self-reference radial matrix. Okay, so again, we are entering a whole new matrix of perception. That's what I want us to truly understand. And honestly, as I go along, I'm going to show you how to read it. And as I go along, you'll see how it can be helpful for our consciousness, right? Because our consciousness is directly reflected on our environment, okay? What we indulge ourselves in, what we feed our minds, what we see, what we talk about, what we hear. This is the same thing that I spoke about in a previous class about the 9 gates to our city, right? So when we're talking about what we're feeding our mind, right, we have to get out of the toxic patriarchal idea of what life should be like, which is 13 months, right? 13 moons, and each moon is 28 days. Okay, just like the menstrual cycle. My sacred calendar is called the Zokin in the Yucatec Mayan, and Chokish and Quiche Mayan. The calendar is not divided into months. Instead, it is made up from a succession of 20-day glyphs in combination with the numbers 1 to 13, and produces 260 unique days, multiplying 20 by 13. Okay, so this image illustrates how the numbers 1 to 13 cycle through the 20 glyphs to form dates in the Zokin calendar. Okay, so the Zokin calendar is actually called the divine count. So 13, and then after 13, it goes into names of the days. So you know how we have Monday through Sunday, we have 7-day weeks, right? But it creates an irregularity in each particular month. So this month may be 30, the next may be 31, February is 28 or 29, which is every 4 years, which is a leap year, which of course is Julius Caesar trying to correct a particular mistake because it did not correlate numerically, so they tried to add a day every 4 years, but then again that was still inaccurate, and we end up completely off today. Okay, so now if you remember, on July 25th we just celebrated our Day of Peace, which is also called the Day Out of Time. Now, at the particular time, I had not introduced a calendar to you, so you may not understand why it's called that. Like, how is there a day that's out of time? That doesn't make sense. But it does make sense, because utilizing the Zokin or the divine calendar, there is a perpetual cycle of 13 moons with 28 days within it, and there is only 1 day left, okay? And that day is the day in which you can reset energetically to begin the next year, okay? So instead of, you know how they have New Year's resolutions and things like that, where people set goals and all the other stuff, but it's also the same time in which people go to party, you know, as the clock strikes 12. But this is a time where we tend to reset energetically, meaning it's also the day in which we unify, the day in which we set aside our differences to begin anew, So to begin anew is to energetically begin anew, not just to begin a new month, not just to begin a new goal, but to begin anew as a people. Okay, so it's time for you to focus on, you know, how you express yourself in this world. If you have animosities, you would mend those bonds. You know what I'm saying? So you begin anew that way, and this makes more sense to actually devote an entire day to you resetting. You know, not going from December 31st to January 1st, and you just, you know what I'm saying? But actually taking a day to meditate, commune with nature, and understanding togetherness. If you have been slacking on it, it's fine, because this is the time you have to reset. It's not a day in which you're supposed to work or focus on any of the everyday things that you usually focus on. Okay, so this is an actual time of reset, for real. Okay, and we just, and I'm just stating that for people who have not been here, for people who do not know. And we did just celebrate that, and I appreciate everyone who was able to participate and celebrate that day with us. So thank you so much for that. But right after that, what does that mean now? Like, what is this new particular year? Okay, so the next day begins the new year, okay? Everything about this particular calendar is about energy, just so you know. Red existing moon, okay? So we're going to get into the month. Okay, so with each moon, there is 2 words of power, okay? So in the 13 moon calendar, the meaning of each of the 13 moons corresponds to that particular number frequency having 3 key words. These numbers are known as the 13 galactic tones of creation that together form the cosmology of movement. These 13 moons, okay, so with 3 key words, the first moon is magnetic. The key words with that is unify, purpose, and attract. So that's the moon in which we're in right now, okay? So I'm going to actually show you guys. I'm actually going to go over the date, but I want to go over the whole thing with you, and then we can decipher what today's date is based on what we've learned, okay? So this is something that I suggest you guys put in your notebooks, and also, you know, start dating your papers this way. You know what I'm saying? Start dating your papers this way. And, you know, you could create a journal and actually work on it every day. You should begin your day with a meditation. And what better way to do that? Like, you know, sometimes you don't know what to focus on. You don't know how to meditate, things like that. So when you're beginning your journey and you're truly trying to leave one particular system and go to the indigenous system, it takes daily practice. So you can, of course, when you begin your day, you would focus on what today truly is energetically, not what today is based off of your account book. So you have the Gregorian calendar, which would be your account book day, and then you have your lunar day, which is your energetic day. Okay, so you can think of it that way, because we're obviously going to be utilizing both calendars, because it's hard to just switch over just completely. We still are utilizing and living within this particular system. So we have to be able to utilize both and understanding what the Gregorian calendar, what purpose it serves, okay? It's literally for you to pay bills. That's what that calendar is for. Now that you know that that calendar is for you to know when to pay your bills, you can utilize this to help with your energetic expansion, your conscious expansion, okay? So go ahead and write these down, okay? When we're writing numbers, we don't write them in this fashion, okay? We don't write them in this fashion. I'm going to show you how the numbers are written. Again, back in the day, things were not written the same way. We use symbols for a lot of things. That's why the names of the days are glyphs, right? Mayans use glyphs just like Egyptians use glyphs, use hieroglyphs, right, to write down everything. So when it comes down to writing numerical value, they use symbols. So 1 would be this, right? 2 would be this. 3 would be this, right? Once we get to 5, that's when we get to a line. Okay, so 4. And much like in Spanish, once you hit a particular number, everything after that layers on top of the previous number. So if you remember, like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? After diez, what do you hear for 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? So now you're adding 10 plus 6 to make 16. 16, 17, 18, 19, right? And then you go to 20, 20 is 20. Okay, 21, 22, 23, 24. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that. And you are layering. Once you get to 5, you layer. Okay? So 6 would be a line, would be 5 plus 1, right? 7 would be 5 plus 2. 8, the same, right? Okay, so 8. 5 plus 3, 9. 5 plus 4. That's what 9 is. And 10 is what? 5 plus 5. So that's 10. 11 is what? 10 plus 1. 5, 5 plus 1. 5, 5 plus 2. Right? Is that good? We understand? 13. Okay, so that's how we write our numerical value, the 13 galactic tones of creation. Okay, so remember, when we're talking about the creative sounds, right? If you remember, in the Emerald Tablets, we talked about the beginning of everything being the darkness, the void, right? Until there was thought, until there was vibration. And vibration creates what? Creates sound. In the Hindu religion or way of life, they acknowledge that sound is the beginning of the universe of existence, right? So you understand that the creative sound is Om, right? So these are the 13 cosmic tones of creation. So obviously the Maya understood that as well. So again, we're talking about ancient knowledge. Ancient knowledge. So they're not the first ones to talk about sound as the beginning of all that is. So this is the part where you actually utilize the color that I told you guys about. So even in this particular calendar, there is color, okay? There's color. Week 1 is red, right? You can go ahead and write it in red, or you can highlight this particular area, okay? Week 1 is red, and during the first week of each moon, it's telling you exactly what to focus on, okay? So it says knowledge initiates view. Now, what they're basically talking about here is how what you know shapes your perception of a particular event, thing, or person. So it's all about your perception, and our perception is guided by what we know already, right? If we are lacking in knowledge, our perception will be inaccurate in some way, shape, or form. So the first week, you want to focus on gaining the particular knowledge so that you can have the proper perception. Okay, that's week 1. Week 2 is white. Okay, so this is where you focus on humility. Humility refines meditation, okay? So that means you are reminded in the second week that in order for you to be able to meditate and connect with the divine, you have to remember to be humble, okay? When you are leading your life in your ego, you can't possibly connect with the divine. So that's what the second week is reminding you to focus on. Third week, we have the color blue, which signifies patience. Okay, so in the third week, you're reminded to practice or exercise your patience because it transforms the way in which you act. Okay? So we already know that when it comes to difficult situations, if we were to exercise our patience, we would definitely react to things differently, right? We don't want to be impulsive. Impulsive means we're not thinking. We may automatically feel triggered by something and will act and attack. But we aren't taking the time, right, to step back, get out of the situation, and look at it from all angles. That requires you having some patience. Just being able to place your feelings on hold, step out of the situation, and look at it from all angles to properly assess what's going on before you act. That's what practicing patience is, okay? And that's how it transforms your conduct. So week 4. Power ripens fruit. Now, you may not understand what that means, but when you think of your solar plexus, what is that? That is your willpower, right? And when you exercise your willpower, you are focusing on your confidence. You are focusing on your courage, your assertiveness, your ability to go after the things that you desire in this particular life. So when you are utilizing your inner power, your willpower, that's how you reap the benefits of your actions, through consistency, right? So power ripens fruit. If you do not activate your willpower, you won't reap the benefits of your actions. That's pretty much what it is. Fruit is what we receive, right? It's what we receive from our harvest. So in the 13 moon calendar, we do have 7 days. That's how we are able to break up our 28 days evenly to ensure that every single moon is exactly the same. And even the days also are correspondent with the colors. Dolly. That would technically be your Sunday, right? Then we have Sully. That's your Monday. Gamma. That's your Tuesday. Kali. That's your Wednesday. Alpha, that's your Thursday. Limi, that's your Friday. Cilio, that's your Saturday. Okay, so I should have moved it over more. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay? So these also have their own particular color. Okay? So these are the names of the 7 seals for the 7 radioplasmas. Okay? So radioplasma is electrical fluid that are the primary building blocks of creation, okay? Okay, electrical fluids that are the primary building blocks of creation, okay? So again, that's 2 things that correspond with many ancient civilizations. The first thing that they say is that the beginning was the void and darkness. And then the second thing that they say is the beginning of all begins with a vibration, a thought, or a sound, which is all the same particular thing. And then after that, they begin with the building blocks of creation, which is fluid. Electrical fluid. Electrical fluid? Where is that? Electrical fluid. Wow. Plasma. Is this not creating the picture of the womb for you? It should, if you don't know. It should. You should be able to see the womb by what they're describing, okay? It says, these plasmas stream out from the center of the galaxy. They also are absorbed into or radiated out from the 7 chakras. These plasmas are the basis of a new telepathic technology by which we can even create the rainbow bridge around Earth. And that this is indicative of the crown, right? The third eye. Okay, so now that we know this, now that we know how each day we can focus on a different chakra, okay? That's what these signify, that's what they help you remember, okay? So within the box of a particular Dolly, for example. Let's just say Dolly, for example, right? In the box, we see a 1, and that's obviously the first day. We also see the Gregorian calendar date is at the top. It's always at the top right-hand corner. So we have the Gregorian date is at the top, okay? This number will be the day of the month, the day of the moon, okay? The day of the moon. What we have here will be at the bottom. Right here underneath the Gregorian date, you might have a picture of a moon. Let's just say this is a full moon. It's going to show you the moon phase so that we can keep up with our moon rituals, right? Whether it's full, new moon, waxing, waning, all that stuff will be right there. And on the bottom left-hand corner, you will see the tone of creation that we spoke about, and also the seal. Okay, the tone of creation and the glyph in which the Mayans use to identify the day. So it'll be the numerical and the name, the phonetic name of the day, okay? So that'll be, it's called a galactic signature. Okay, the galactic signature of a particular day will be the name, will be the tone of creation. Let's just say 2, right? The second tone of creation. And there will be a glyph here that will have a particular design or name, right? I'm just gonna throw something in there. A particular glyph, right, of the particular name. Now, this is how you determine the galactic signature, okay? So this is what a typical day would look like in the lunar calendar. And of course, I'm going to share it with you guys, but I want to go over what today's date is. Now, we know that July 25th was our day out of time, right? So that means the day right after that is, of course, we know is the 26th. July 26th. That would always be the first of the new year. Today is Saturday, right? Saturday, July, what's today's date? July 6th. I'm sorry, August. I'm all over the place. Sorry, y'all. This is what happens when you don't follow the Gregorian calendar anymore. It's just like, what? I don't resonate with that. So I always have to remind myself what today's date is. August 6, 2022. This is our date, right? So with what we learned today, what would be the new date? Saturday, right? Saturday would be Cilio. Today is Cilio, right? After you write what the day is, you would skip the month and you'll put the number of that day. So as Saturday ends up being the 6th of August, it would be the same thing. So today is Cilio the 6th, right? Or the 7th rather. Let me, oops. Cilio is the 7th. Radioplasma, because again, that's what the days are. These are the radioplasmas, right? The building blocks of creation. Today is the 7th radioplasma of August, right? Saturday, the 6th of August. So Cilio, the 7th radioplasma of our magnetic moon. And today's year is red existing moon. Okay? Okay, so Saturday, the 6th of August of 2022 is Cilio, the 7th radioplasma of the magnetic moon of red existing moon. So this is the year, this is the month. You would basically put the day of the week, the number of the month, the name of the month, and then the year. Okay, that's how you would write it, that's how you would understand it. Hopefully that's understood. So what I'll do is, those who are in my chat, what I can do is I can send you guys the calendar of the year. It will have all of this written down in the calendar when I send it to you. So if you guys have Dropbox, let me know and I will be able to, yes, post your Dropbox emails so I can send it to you guys. So that you're able to see this, the tutorial of how to read the calendar, and your everyday practice would be being able to focus on what the actual day is, and then also utilizing the energy and power words of each day, focusing on the chakras of the day, and also focusing on the energy of each week, remembering the message of that week to activate that particular knowledge. Okay, and that's how you change your entire thinking layers from what we're used to what it should be. Okay, and this not only is, it's not just this, it's not just the calendar. This is how you can switch thinking layers, of course, but there's also those who would love to dive deeper. This is honestly the beginning, the very beginning, and it's very, very easy to do this. But for those who want to go deeper and they need oracle reading or understanding, there are even cards. There are even cards that are representative of the glyphs and days. Okay, so it can help you with just understanding yourself and what energy you should be activating today for your conscious advancement. Okay, so that's why this is so important, more so than, okay, today is just, you know, August 6th. I know by the 14th I'm gonna have to have my subscription is, you know, is due on the 15th, or I gotta make sure that I pay my bills before the 15th, or at least 2 weeks before it's due so that I can build my credit score. Like, this is basically what we utilize our calendar for. It's really all about money. So we have to get out of that mindset. You know what I'm saying? We have to get out of that mindset and into the mindset of our energetic expansion. Yeah, but you know, this is where I'm gonna stop today, because I can go into this a lot longer and this video will be forever. But I'm gonna stop from right here. I just want to give you guys an introduction to the lunar calendar, and why it actually helps the growth of our consciousness. Okay, so this is just the introduction, but I can go into it more if you would like that. And we can practice. We can definitely practice together. And yeah, I'm going to actually end the class with this today. Okay? But I want to thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. And I can't wait to see you guys next week. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Okay? But until then, I hope to see you all. Remember, peace, love. Remember to worship the Yoni, okay?